to is talk about she might have talked about it, but I want to give a more stories or example how I did it in my traveling experience. But a bit more about myself. If you know me before, you probably see me in the base. I started a small cafe in this campus, so if you haven't been to that, grab a coffee there. It's a promotion. And then these are some of the countries I've been to. But I want to say is that I'm going to show you some photos. But this is one of the photos after my traveling experience, and I showed my parents. And they asked me, "Do you take it as a Kowloon Park?" Well, actually, I take it here. Yeah. So don't mind the quality of my photo. The experience itself is awesome, but the photo is not. Yeah. The first thing I want to talk about is that whenever I go traveling, I want to do couchsurfing. And what is couchsurfing? Is that that's too fast. Is to stay at a local's home to have a direct interaction with them to understand how they live. So my first couchsurfing experience is with this girl in Ukraine, and then this photo is just to prove that I really stay with her. It is really cool because when you go travel, you don't really have the chance to understand how people living in there. And by this couchsurfing experience, we do know more about their values and how they see the issues. It is very different from living in a hostel or hotel. So maybe I move to the next slide. Sorry for the poor quality of the photo. I told you before. Yeah. This is the most unforgettable experience I had in my couchsurfing experience. Is I stayed with a family with a priest, and then I live in the church. And then when I open the door of the room, I see the whole church. Why it's so unforgettable is that I bump into this family, and then they treat me very good, in the sense that they tell me their stories, they give me the best food they have. But to me, it may be the only chance that I meet them. After I leave their home, I may not have the chance to meet them again. But with only this short period of time of interaction, we share our best to each other. It is what we call friendship. So I enjoy couchsurfing a lot, and I do encourage you to try couchsurfing. Maybe you've got some hosts who are hot, very hot. Another story I want to tell is that in my traveling experience in Ukraine, I have been to the Chernobyl nuclear plant. There was a very serious accident 30 years ago. And then I do have the courage to visit that, although many people said it is dangerous or it may damage your health. But actually, indeed, it is okay to travel, to stay for a day trip. The experience there is like playing zombie games. Everywhere is abandoned and old and destroyed. It's like you put yourself in some kind of zombie games and zombie movies that you have come across. But the thing I want to say is that you can see the massive destruction that is given by nuclear energy. So again, I would say it is, although if you know more about the history of that accident, it is caused by human error. But even though with this small chance of human error, the destruction is so massive that can destroy the whole area, the whole effort that people build around the communities. Because the Chernobyl area, that 100 kilometers area that is blocked and that is prohibited for human to live in. If you have chance to go to some different places that people don't usually go. Try to find some experience. Try to visit some place that will make you a memorable one. The last story I want to tell is a trip to London. I remember Shifan told you that although many people have been to London, it is a very touristic and normal place that many people go every year. But you can find your own values, or you can find your own meanings on the trip. One of the things I did is that I volunteered in a local NGOs called Food Cycle. They try to recycle unsold food from supermarket and use those food to cook for people who need the food in the community center. It is very fun because it is my first time to cook for 40 people portions in a very short period of time. It is a bit like in the MasterChef game. There is a coordinator keep reminding you that like 1 hour left and 15 minutes left. And personally, I love cooking a lot, so it is a great fun for me to do that. So if you have a chance to go to some places, you can find some volunteering experience and give you a lot of fun. The second experience I had in London is I blindfold myself to travel around the city. Why I do that is because London is famous for caring about people with disabilities. And then we want to try how people with visual disability would experience if they go around the city. That's why I blindfold myself to travel around. When I'm blindfolded and I cannot see things, actually it is quite boring because if you are on empty hours, you can use your mobile phone, you can look at people around you. At least you have some kind of information received. But when you are blindfolded on the metro, it is kind of boring. So this is how people with who are blind will experience. And the second thing I did is that I'm quite inspired by one of the episodes of MasterChef, with blind Vietnamese girl who win the champion of that. But she was blind. So I want to try how can blind people actually cook. So that I cooked and while I was blindfolded myself. And it is a bit difficult. I need some kind of assistance from my friends. But it turns out I can still able to cook a dish that is safe to eat. But what I have in this experience that people with disability, they can actually do quite a lot of things. But people who are normal tend to feel that we need to take care of them. We need to guide them the way, we need to help them to do everything. But indeed, people with disability, they can do many things. That's why we should respect them and give them the space and the freedom to do what they want to do. I guess everyone have their own meanings of traveling. And for many Hong Kong people, maybe some of the common places we travel, maybe Japan, maybe Thailand or Korea. People travel for shopping or going to theme park or whatever. But to me, I want to go to some uncommon places because when I think myself 10 years later, when I have my kids, I won't bring them to Ukraine. That's why when I'm still young, I want to travel to these exotic places that I may not be there to go when I get old. And when you travel, something special, to find your own meanings. And the most important thing is that do travel with friends who do all those crazy things with you. As you see, when I apply for myself, I need a lot of assistance with my friend. Finding a good traveling partner is very important. And today I'm very glad I have one of my best traveling partner, Fai here with me today. And when I'm coming to end this speech, the last thing I want to say is that try to find your own meaning in your childhood. Make your experience a special one.